Hi everyone and welcome to this short restorative practice. So half an hour, contrary to what many people might think, is actually enough to achieve a deep state of calm. And sometimes that's all we have, sometimes that's a push. So even if you can only do 5-10 minutes of this practice, you're going to get a really nice benefit out of it. So all you're going to need today are a couple of, I'm going to show you the yoga prop version first, and then I'm going to tell you how you can make use of household items. So I've got 2 yoga bricks here. You might not have bricks, but you could use 2 hardback books or 2 boxes, Tupperware boxes, that kind of thing. And I've got a bolster here, a yoga bolster. Again, if you don't have one, don't worry. What you can do is stack 2 cushions from your bed, so 2 rectangular pillows to make your bolster. And then a blanket. Probably have this at home, but even if you don't, use a towel, and a mat is helpful, but it's not essential, as long as you're on like a nice soft cozy bit of ground. So you might lay another blanket down underneath you. So the first posture we're going to come into for this is a reclined bound angle. So you'll set your bolster up long ways, and it's going to support your back and your head. And then you're going to take your 2 bricks and set them up either side of your mat. These are going to support your knees. Something you might also like to have as an additional bit of support is your blanket or your towel, just folded up over the edge of the bolster to act as a little bit of extra head support. So once I have this all set up, I'm going to bring my bolster right up to my tailbone. I'm going to keep my bricks nearby, but we'll put them in a moment. Hold the bolster really close to you so it doesn't slide away as you then come to lay down slowly. And once you lay down, you'll let your knees drop out to the sides, feet together, soles of the feet together. But as you let your knees drop down, let them meet the bricks. So if the ground feels really far away, make the bricks a little higher. And in fact, it might be nice to start that way, even if you don't necessarily feel you need that much support, just to let the body land. So I'm actually going to start with the second height. Highest height's probably too high for most people, but feel free to choose that as an option if you need. And just some little pointers of how to get comfortable here, because we'll be here for a while. You might find your lower back feels just a touch pinchy. So if that's the case, what you can do is just gently lift your tailbone. So slightly tuck your tailbone, lift it, lengthen your tailbone forward, and then replace the sit bones back down. Hopefully that relieves anything like that. You can also make sure you're nice and close to your bolster. Make sure if you've got it, the blanket supporting onto the head is, you can even roll it up a bit actually, so you get the bit of the neck filled up. And then when you're settled, just let the arms drop by the sides, if that works for you. Palms facing up, fingers curled in, so you're really relaxed. Take a deep breath in. And a long sigh out. And take another deep breath in. And a sigh out. And one more time like that. Inhale through the nose. Just let yourself land here. So you can close your eyes, or you might leave them open, that's fine too. Either way though, begin to drop your awareness inwards. So if you do choose to keep your eyes open, just let the gaze be quite blurry so that you're not distracted by anything going on in the space around you. And if your eyes are closed, just turning the gaze down into the body. So we're not kind of looking up to the activity of the brain. We're very much going into the belly, the heart, the lungs, all of the kind of automatic parts of our nervous system, or what's called autonomic. And just watching your breath rise and fall here. Perhaps even detecting a little bit of your heartbeat. And just notice how the breath is and how the heartbeat is. This will tell you a lot about how you're feeling. There's no need to judge that or kind of try and wish to change it right now. It's just simply an act of observing. So observing your breath and observing your heart beating. Let each breath just slow down a little bit, noticing how as you follow the breath in and as you follow the breath out, it doesn't need to go fast at all. And in fact, the more you just follow its journey without trying to rush it or control it, the slower it will go and the more relaxed you become. So all we're doing here is watching the body as it breathes, and that's happening without your control. Maybe you're watching or feeling your heart beating, again, happening without your control. And just notice what that's like. Your body just kind of humming away without any disturbance. It might, those little features like the breath and the heartbeat, they might change when we're stressed, but really if you just come back to focusing on them, notice how easy they are and simple. And with each breath in, feeling a sense of expansion to the edges of the body as the breath reaches the skin. And then as you exhale, there's this kind of just gentle deflation as everything just returns to your center. So observing the breath as it goes from the middle of the body out to the skin. And as you exhale, feel the breath gather back to your center. So inhaling, this container of the body expands with the breath in and gently softens with the breath out. As you breathe in, feeling the expansive space. And as you breathe out, feeling the softness of that space. And as you breathe in, letting the inhale go to those areas of your body that feel a little heavy, a little congested. And as you breathe out, let that out breath go to those areas that feel tense, that feel wound tightly. As you breathe in, imagine that inhale, that kind of regeneration going to any low mood, any depression, any dark thoughts, and lifting them. And then the exhale soothes. It's like a balm for your stressful thoughts, for your anger, your anxiety. So the inhale is pure nurturance and uplift for low feeling. And the exhale is a balm for heat, tension, anxiety, anger. So inhaling from the center of the body all the way out, just doing a sweep of the whole body. And exhaling, let everything soften and soothe back to center. Inhaling. And exhaling. Keep sending your awareness to your breath. Imagine the breath in is unfolding awareness throughout the whole body. And the breath out is the return of that awareness to your center, whatever your center might be. You don't have to think too hard about it. So every time you breathe out, you breathe in, you send awareness to every corner, every little curve of the body. And as you breathe out, you draw that awareness back to center and it gets refreshed. So we'll stay here for another 10 breaths, just playing with this idea or this feeling of breathing in to expand and breathing out to soften back to your center. Let's come into about 3 more breaths. And then just start to bring your hands, when you're ready, keep the eyes closed or the gaze very soft, but bring your hands outside of your 2 thighs and just start to gently use your hands to bring the legs together, knees drop in this time, and let the feet actually widen a bit. And bring your hands onto the bottom of your thighs and then just gently press the hands into the thighs. Feel that sense of space and softness in the lower belly. And as you continue to press the thighs, when you breathe in, let your belly inflate, so get nice and big. And then as you breathe out, keep pushing the thighs and feel the belly scoop up and under the ribs. So there's this sense of really hollowing out. Take that a couple more times. Inhaling and exhaling. And then we'll take 1 more breath here, inhaling and exhaling, and then just soften the pressure of the hands. You're going to set your right arm up alongside your bolster. Just carefully come off of your bolster to your right side and let your ear fall onto your right bicep, and just pause there for a moment. Just laying semi-supine, really nice and easy. And then you'll use your left hand in front of you to gently press up to an easy seat. We're going to use the bolster again, and this time probably just the bolster we'll use. You'll take your, actually you have an option, I'll show it to you in a moment. Take your blanket or your towel, and we're going to actually use it to cover our body this time. What you might notice is you start to become a little bit cooler when we slow things down. So you're going to sort of arrange your legs so my right shin is kind of just out in front, it's on about 45 degrees. Same with my left leg. So both legs are about 45 degrees, just kind of hanging out. I'm leaning on my right hip. I'm going to use my bolster and I'm going to draw it close. Again, we're coming to lay down on it. So when you do descend, make sure you keep it close. Cover your feet and your legs with your blanket if you have that. And then keep your bolster closed as you start to turn to face it. So there's a little bit of a twist coming in now. And I'm going to begin to walk my hands either side of the bolster, and I'll keep bringing it into me. So just make sure you do that as you lay down, especially if you're using 2 pillows. And then I'm going to come to rest my right ear on my bolster, making sure I've got everything nice and covered so I don't feel cold. I quite like to even take my hands underneath my bolster and elevate it a little bit. You could use a brick to elevate it if you didn't want to use your hands. And it might take a moment to settle here. There's a little bit of a twist going on. There's a gentle pressure into the right side of the torso, and the left side is getting a little extra space. This is a really lovely one for your digestive system. I'm just going to be here for a while, so nice and comfortable. You need to put on any extra layers of clothing, that's always a good idea. It can get much cooler the more and more we drop into that rest and digest. And in fact, notice right now, without changing it, how is your breath? Maybe you detect your heartbeat, but it might be harder to detect the more relaxed you become. And you can stay with your right ear down so you're essentially facing the same way that your knees are pointing. Or if it works for you, you could pick up the head and carefully turn. So now you're turning the opposite way. So I would bring my left ear down. If that doesn't feel comfortable for you, feel free to stay on the first side. But if it's okay and it doesn't hurt your neck in any way or cause you to tense your jaw, enjoy that extra bit of twist. And descending some breath into the back of the body, feeling your breath expanding down into your kidneys. They kind of sit just around underneath the back floating ribs. Again, just feel that sense of inhaling to spread awareness further through the body, and exhaling to soften and draw that awareness back to center. So your awareness is always renewing itself. And your way of perceiving things has the power, you can change it in the tiniest amount of time. So as you become more and more relaxed, notice how you begin to perceive things from a kind of decelerated, balanced and calm nervous system. Let's take 10 more breaths here in this little easy twist. Making the next 3 breaths just coming toward the end of this side. Notice how slow your breath is. And there's no need to rush to catch up with me. If you find your 3 breaths are longer than my 3 breaths, then that's great. Stay with them until you finish those 3 rounds. But then whenever you do, just starting to slowly bring your hands flat either side of your bolster. And when you press into the ground, immediately as the head starts to lighten, draw the chin to the chest and slowly lift up, so slowly. And then just starting to bring the hands a bit closer in, bringing yourself more upright. You can maybe just flip around. I'm close to a wall, so I'm going to change sides, bring my bolster over to my left hip. So now my left shin is in front, my left leg is at about 45 degrees, as is my right. I'm going to take my blanket again and cover up my legs and my feet and try and get a bit of my lower back as well covered. And then I'm going to frame my bolster, have a hand either side of it, but maybe actually it might even be better to hold it as you turn toward it and then slowly lower down, keeping it in towards you as you descend. And start off with your left ear down, so you're essentially facing the same way as your knees are pointing. And then you could do the thing of scooping the arms underneath, just as a little extra. And just let yourself become really soft here. If you need to adjust anything, you always can do that. Remember, the body is not meant to be symmetrical, and it isn't, so feel free to adapt to each side. And in fact, I encourage you to find those subtle differences and make space for them. And that sensation of breathing in to expand awareness and breathing breathing out to draw that awareness back to center. And when we think, or when we feel our awareness like this, as it, moving with the breath, it means that we never have to overextend ourselves. We never have to take in more than we can manage, because each breath is like renewing awareness. So we want to think of our own awareness in that way. So we avoid burnout, we avoid anger, we avoid kind of just getting overwhelmed, stretched thin. If you wanted to change your head, you can. Remember, it might feel totally different on the second side, so you don't have to force it to be the same. Breath to expand awareness in, and the breath out, the exhale, to soften awareness back to the heart, back to the center, the heart of your being. And just playing with this experience and seeing how it has the power to change your perception of yourself, the situations you might find yourself in, your difficulties, things that are good in your life. We'll come into 10 more breaths on this side. Last 3 breaths. And then if you're ready to, just slowly pressing the hands down. And as you press down, you'll feel your head naturally get lighter, chin draws to the chest. Slowly as you press up to seated. And then just take a moment now to arrange yourself so you'll be now facing your bolster. And you're going to take your knees wide. And you're going to bring your 2 bricks, or your substitute bricks, under your bolster. So I'm going to bring my legs wide, and I'm going to bring my bolster just in between my thighs. And I'm going to place 1 brick flat around the middle of my bolster, and the other brick is going to go on the highest level at the top. So I've made a little slant. And then from here, I'm going to come into a child's pose. Now, I've got my blanket around me, but if you had a spare blanket, or if you wanted to use your blanket for something else, you could put a little bit of a fold or even a roll between the sit bones and the heels. Sometimes that's quite nice if you feel like there's a bit of a gap there that could be filled up, or if you just need a little more support. Start to slowly lower yourself down. Now, because your face will end up straight on your bolster or your cushions, I recommend placing 1 ear down. So we're in a child's pose that's raised up. You can also put some padding under your knees if this feels sensitive for your knees. If it's okay though, just letting yourself rest here, feeling the belly resting on the bolster. This is a nice posture for calming everything down for obvious reasons, but it has a really nice effect on our digestive organs. And not only is that good at a time of year when maybe we're indulging a little bit more, but also a lot of our our mental health starts in the gut. So the microbiome in the gut, it's very influenced by the health of the nervous system. We make a lot of our, in fact 90% of our serotonin, that's the hormone that makes us feel good, that allows us to sleep calmly, all of those good things, it's made in the gut. So balancing the digestive system is so, so important. Let your cheeks be soft. Just notice again the feeling of the breath. All you have to do is follow the breath as it's happening all by itself. There's none of your control in there, nothing you can kind of change or mess up or perfect, it's just happening. So all you need to do is follow the breath as it comes in and as it moves back out. Body expands with the inhale. Body softens with the exhale. Send the inhale to ignite a little bit of energy under those congested areas of the body, those feelings of blueness, down, depressed feelings. And let your exhale soothe physical tension and mental, emotional tension or anger, fear. And we'll just take 10 more breaths here. Into the last 3 breaths. When you're ready, turn the palms of your hands to face down, and like before, just let your forehead slide lightly onto the bolster, and then slowly walk your hands in. Let your head come away from the bolster and slowly, slowly come up into a kneeling position. And just take a moment here. You can place the hands onto the body if you like, one onto the belly, one onto the heart. Feel the breath expanding and softening.